BMW, they make some pretty damn good EVs. This is the i5 M60. In fact, it's our i5 M60. When the i5 won Edmunds' top-rated electric car for 2024, we knew we had to spend some more time with it. Like the 20-something other cars in our road test fleet, we've had it for the last year, and we've used this thing for the daily commute, for road trips, and even some drag races over the last 10,000 miles. As you can probably imagine, you get to know a car pretty well over that much time. And since we have to say goodbye to this thing, we thought we'd tell you what we learned. So, is this really the ultimate evolution of the 5 Series, or did BMW short circuit? Let's talk about it. Head on over to Edmunds.com for more info on the other cars in our 1-year test fleet, buying advice for new EVs, and way more. Oh, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the Edmunds YouTube channel while you're at it. Do you hear that? Exactly. In a world where you can have a $35,000 car with a big screen and leather upholstery and cooled seats, luxury is more about comfort and how quiet your surroundings are. The i5 has both of those things.
Yeah, you can use your favorite cliche here. Quiet as a mouse, quiet as a tomb, quiet as a mouse in a tomb full of mute librarians, whatever. But I mean, our i5 is a proper luxury sedan, even as the M60 performance version. Even the tires that this thing rides on are lined with foam on the inside to make sure that it's as quiet in here as possible. That rules. In addition to the quiet, the ride quality is shockingly good here. BMW makes air suspension standard on the i5, and despite the 21-inch wheels, which I think are too big because they don't leave much room for some cushy sidewall, this thing rides beautifully over even things like potholes or cracked pavement. It's great. You get such a relaxed vibe from this cabin. You just feel so at ease, which I love. We also tracked charging over the course of our year with the i5, and we averaged 248 miles of range when we charged it up to full. That's a little more than the EPA's estimate of 240 miles with our 21-inch wheels. That said, we eked out quite a bit more than that during the Edmunds real-world range test. We went 256 miles on a single charge, and you can get even more if you opt for the smaller wheels, but we just happen to like the way these look. The driver aids are mostly great too. We rarely get false warnings from any of the safety systems, and even things like the adaptive cruise control or the hands-free driving system, which this car has, are almost always spot on. The only issue we have with the hands-free system is that there's not enough of a gap between when it alerts you to put your hands back on the wheel and when it disengages, so we'd like a little more of a time buffer there. But when you feel like driving yourself, the i5 is just great.
Power delivery in this car is just so perfectly judged. It always felt entirely intuitive to get exactly the amount of acceleration I wanted out of it. It's also really smooth on the throttle, which always isn't a given in an EV. It's a comfortable and controlled car. It is really exactly what I want out of a light performance luxury EV.
The reason the i5 is so nice to drive is because everything feels very tightly synced up. The throttle is linear and easy to understand. You never feel like you're lurching or jumping. The steering, while not full of feel, is accurate enough, and the brake pedal blends regen and friction braking really nicely. Remember, this isn't any ordinary i5, this is the M60 model. It has almost 600 horsepower, and in one of our U-drags, it almost hung with a BMW M4. It's still lost, but that's really impressive for something so big and heavy.
And we're away! This is pretty close. Come on, Mr. Electric! Come on, i5, yeah! Woo! This i5, yeah, I lost. It's not quite as quick as that M4. It's still massively powerful off the line.
The interior of the i5 is a tale of two cities. Tech is one, but the one I'm going to talk about first is interior quality and use of materials.
So BMW just nailed the balance between form and function with the i5's interior. It is definitely one of the most compelling reasons that you should check out this car over some of the less expensive options like the Tesla Model S.
I love the ambient light bar on our BMW i5. It stretches across the entire dash, but then also blends into the doors as well. Like, it looks super cool and techy without being overdone.
Speaking of tech, that touchscreen in the middle can be really impressive too.
I really like the touchscreen and the entertainment system in our BMW i5. Like, you get in and it's just ready to go. No boot up sequence like you get in some other cars, which just takes too long. Same thing with the wireless phone charging pad. Like, it just always works, which you don't always get with other cars.
But the things we liked about the i5 were not all universal, and even in a great car, there's room for improvement. As much as we love the variety of materials, you have this soft touch here, you have this carbon fiber, this plastic with this crystal effect, we would also want a little bit more consistency across some of the controls. I'll show you what I'm talking about. The window switches, the buttons on the steering wheel, and these controls here are all completely different plastics. It doesn't feel as cohesive. In fact, it feels a little jumbled. You'll notice the center console here with the crystal rotary knob and the crystal shifter and this crystal volume knob here. It's backed up by this piano black piece of plastic, and there's piano black here and just below the screen as well. They really catch fingerprints, and unless you're very meticulous about how you clean it, the last time that you had drive-through french fries is gonna show up here for sure. Also, this car has the Bowers & Wilkins sound system, and the speaker grills here used to be metal, and they are on some higher end BMWs, but this car costs $100,000, and here they're plastic, and it just doesn't feel as special as we'd like it to. The hardware behind this touchscreen is super competent and the response is really snappy, but the software doesn't always work the way it needs to.
The i5's infotainment display menu structure isn't as intuitive as the tech in some of its competitors. It's almost as if someone just added a bunch of apps without organizing or categorizing them in any meaningful way. And as a result, I've had to spend lots of time scrolling around to find the settings that I actually needed.
There are no physical controls for main functions like the air conditioning or the heated seats, so you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to be using that screen a lot. Thankfully, there are shortcuts for the climate controls here at this bottom row, but we'd always prefer physical controls for things like the AC or the heated seats or any of those fundamental primary controls. Speaking of controls, it's hard to ignore the crystal rotary dial in the center console here. A couple of our staffers have pointed out how cool it looks at night when the ambient light shines through, but unfortunately...
The daytime, to me, it just looks like clear plastic. It doesn't really give a luxury vibe, and the other problem I found, when the sun comes in sometimes, it bounces off the knob and like reflects sunlight directly in your eyes, like, so not the best.
Luckily, Brent won't have to worry about that forever because the next generation of BMWs are getting rid of it, so say bye-bye. We didn't all love these front chairs either.
We had a long-term 2018 BMW 540i, and I loved the seats in that thing. I don't think the seats in this i5 are quite as nice, not quite as padded or supportive, and the headrest is a little more intrusive and not as soft. It's sort of a bummer for me that, as promising as everything else is about this car, the seats feel like a little bit of a step backwards for BMW.
And while you're in the driver's seat, the hands-free driving tech doesn't always work the way you'd expect.
So I was driving the i5 the other week and I turned on the highway assistant feature, but we were driving into direct sunlight and it actually completely tricked the car. The glare just caught it off guard and the system shut off. It was all sorts of confused, and it was the very first time that I remember thinking, oh, maybe I'm not comfortable using this technology over time. The good news is they can fix this with over-the-air updates, and I hope that they do that.
It's okay. I need sunglasses when I'm driving in bright light too. Maybe BMW should just do a collab with Oakley or something. Speaking of which, they might want to do a collab with U-Haul or Thule also.
If you look at the official BMW cargo spec for the i5, it seems pretty big, but I found in real world use it's not actually the best. The trunk is kind of short and the overall shape of the cargo area is just really makes it hard to put in bulkier items. And the other problem as well is that there's no like underfloor storage that you get from other electric sedans like the Tesla Model S.
Another thing that probably shouldn't be happening with your $100,000 BMW after just 10,000 miles. I know suspension components make noise, but that seems a little excessive. Something I just noticed today while we were filming this is the badge is starting to come off, and I think for $100,000, BMW can probably do better. In addition to the badge almost falling off, we also have a hole in the seat, and you can see the foam coming up. Guys, it's less than 10,000 miles we're talking about here. Normally when a car leaves our year-long test fleet, we like to tell you how much it costs us to own and if anything's broken. And sometimes this section can be pretty painful, but not this time. It hasn't cost us any money in maintenance or repairs, and aside from the few small quality issues I showed you earlier, it's been rock solid. This is becoming a familiar experience with BMW's EVs. We had an iX in for a year-long test, and similar to this, it was problem-free, though I seem to recall that car not having the same build quality issues.
We also like to track the value of the cars in our long-term fleet to see how they've held up over time. When we took the keys to our i5, it was optioned out to $95,745. When we took it to get an estimate to see how much it was worth after a year, well, the news wasn't great. We were offered $56,000 for our i5, and that means it cost us $4 per mile in depreciation alone. Ouch.
There are similarly sized EVs for less money. The ubiquitous Tesla Model S comes to mind, and even some versions of the Mercedes-Benz EQE, but none of them are as well-rounded as the i5 is. We would have liked to do a comparison test with this thing, but there's no point when there's always going to be an obvious winner. Despite the little nits we love to pick, the i5 has been an outstanding member of our road test fleet throughout the last year. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's comfortable, it's supremely quiet on the inside. The i5 is one of the best electric luxury cars you can buy right now. There's just one thing left to answer. Would we buy it again?
Absolutely.
I would 1,000% buy this car again.
I would definitely get one again.
Yes, absolutely. It's one of my favorite cars in the garage.
I mean, I know I would.